I did mention the Shedeur side of things.
Yeah.
And I just want to enjoy the kid that plays on our team here. All right? I get it. Like, I've had players that I've gone in and said, not on my team, don't care for it. The James Harden thing. So I'm not above this sort of thing. But, like, the Rex Ryan thing in and of itself. Guys, Rex is just talking out his ass.
Yeah.
Rex saw a picture of Shedeur surrounded by Shedeur jerseys and had no idea that was at a Shedeur event that was free for the 500 kids that attended. Had no, I know Book sent out this whole tweet, one of Shedeur's guys, about what Shedeur did to get back to this event because he was having trouble.
Private jet, everything in between, yeah.
And Rex doesn't want to see that.
What if I told you one of the NFL's most talked about young quarterbacks is getting criticized? Not for his throws, not for his decision-making, not for his work ethic, but because of pictures on social media. That's exactly what's happening to Shedeur Sanders. A youth football camp that helped hundreds of kids somehow turned into another national debate. Former NFL coach Rex Ryan took one look at photos from the event and questioned whether Shedeur's priorities were in the right place. But here's the real question.
All Rex sees is the picture at face value, which is Shedeur in a photo op. And for some reason, Rex Ryan cannot let go of that. But that in and of itself was enough to then the Shedeur wars crank up to volume 11. I was like, we're doing it over that?
Well, this is just more proof that he's damned if he does, damned if he don't, right? Like, this is just his whole existence can be basically summed up with what you've seen over the past 24 hours and how people discuss Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur Sanders has been under a microscope since the day he entered college football. Being the son of Deion Sanders already guaranteed attention. Every throw, every interview, every celebration, every social media post, every showed up wearing his jersey. They took pictures. They met one of their heroes. For many of those children, it became one of the best days of their summer. Yet instead of celebrating the impact he had on those kids, the internet focused on one photograph. A picture showing Shedeur surrounded by his own jerseys quickly became the center of criticism.
He cannot get the win no matter what he does. You host a camp for 500 kids to make the community better and give a lot of kids a happy moment and something they'll cherish. This makes a lot of kids' summers. And the response is, well, if I was still the head coach, you wouldn't be doing this, you wouldn't be doing that, you wouldn't be doing this, you wouldn't be... Like, the man just can't win, and that's fine. That's a lot of this Shedeur discussion is just people that just want to... I mean, what kind of lengths could he take this to? What realistically could he do that would still get people to gripe? Because this is just how it always works with him. It's ridiculous.
Some quarterback. Among those critics was former NFL head coach Rex Ryan. Ryan suggested that if he were coaching Shedeur, he wouldn't allow this type of behavior. And suddenly, what should have been a positive story turned into another controversy. But here's where things get interesting. Many people who actually understood the event pointed out something important. The camp wasn't about selling merchandise. It wasn't about making money. It wasn't a publicity stunt. It was a free community event designed for kids. The jerseys were part of the experience. The pictures were simply memories. Yet one image became enough to fuel another week of headlines. And that's the problem. Because with Shedeur Sanders, context often disappears.
Well, but see, so I actually don't have a problem with Rex Ryan. I just recognize he's of a generation that I am not of. Meaning, even though I'm not of Shedeur's generation, I've watched this young generation come along with technology. I see it with my kids who are a bit younger than Shedeur, and I go, oh, everybody wants to be an influencer, and some people are immensely good at it, and that's just, I don't want to say it's their side hustle, but that's just another revenue stream that I might not prioritize it, but I see why he does. I think Rex is just generationally challenged.
The truth is, no matter what Shedeur does, someone always finds a reason to criticize him. If he posts workouts, people say he's showing off. If he posts nothing, people assume he's not working. If he signs autographs, he's chasing attention. If he skips public appearances, he's accused of ignoring fans. It's almost like he's playing a game he can never actually win. And that's a dangerous place for any young athlete. What's really happening here isn't just about football. It's a generational clash. Older football minds grew up believing quarterbacks should remain almost invisible outside the game. Show up, practice, study film, go home, repeat. The quarterback was expected to live football 24 hours a day. No distractions, no personal brand, no cameras following them around. Today's athletes live in a completely different world. Social media isn't optional anymore. It's part of modern sports. Players build businesses, create content.
I think that's the other part of this, though, is that every other quarterback does this. But even if this is just what his hobby is. Like why isn't Rex Ryan out here talking about Patrick Mahomes being at the FIFA World Cup over the weekend? Why? Because it's a ridiculous thing to point out. It's like, well, okay, because that's Patrick Mahomes' hobby. It's something he likes to do, and maybe it takes his mind off of it. Shedeur, this is just it's a hobby for him to create, and whether that's music, whether that's video, whatever that is, like it's all just his hobby because he puts it out there for people to consume. It's somehow worse.
Sign sponsorships, launch podcasts, produce documentaries, interact directly with millions of fans. That's simply today's reality. And whether people like it or not, the NFL is changing with the times. Look around the league. Patrick Mahomes appears at major sporting events. Joe Burrow attends fan conventions. Players collaborate with brands all year long. Quarterbacks have clothing lines, commercials, production companies, podcasts, social media teams. Nobody questions their commitment because they understand these players still handle their football responsibilities. So why is Shedeur different? Why does every Instagram post become national news? Why does every appearance spark another debate? The answer is simple. He's become one of the most polarizing young athletes in America. People already formed opinions before he ever took an NFL snap. Some believe he's overly confident. Others see confidence as leadership. Some believe he's depending on who's watching. That's why this conversation keeps repeating itself.
I mean, listen.
I just don't understand it.
So I agree with you. I think the devil's advocate, if I'm trying to see their side of things, I'm not. But just to play along here, I think the point is there's a difference of attending a soccer match and having a crew follow you around, documenting every step and making sure people know everything you're doing.
I just don't see it. Like if the argument is that the time you're spent doing that is time you're not working on football, and so that's the problem. If you're spending 5 hours going to a FIFA soccer match, and then you're spending 5 hours, let's say, getting photographed in front of your own jerseys because you want to make some cool content, if 5 hours is 5 hours, is it not?
Another interesting part of this debate involves time management. Critics often act as if creating content somehow prevents football preparation. But professional athletes have more than enough hours in the day. Training, recovery, film study, meetings, nutrition, sleep. Those responsibilities remain priorities. Anything outside of that exists during personal time. If a player wants to play golf, nobody complains. If another wants to attend concerts, nobody panics. If someone enjoys video games, fans laugh about it. But when Shedeur enjoys creating content, suddenly it's treated like a distraction. That double standard is difficult to ignore. Even Shedeur himself recently talked about how much he's improved this offseason. He mentioned improving every aspect of his life, his sleep, his routine, his recovery.
Football isn't the grind that it was 20 years ago. Like, you don't practice the same way. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
In terms of, like, the commitment from the team. Shedeur still has the physical commitment to himself to be the best version of himself and study as much as possible. But where you and I are simpatico with this is there's more than enough hours in the day to have business interests and then football interest. We know because every damn football player in the NFL, almost every quarterback in the NFL is doing something, even if it's not the exact same degree or the same way Shedeur's doing it.
This means criticism should disappear. Professional athletes deserve criticism when their play declines. If Shedeur struggles on the field, fans should talk about it. If he may be building a personal brand, that's a completely different conversation, especially when there's no evidence it's hurting his development. What's fascinating is how quickly football culture continues evolving. 5 years from now, nobody cares about youth camp pictures. The scoreboard tells the only story that matters. Can you lead your team? Can you make throws under pressure? Can you win football games? Everything else becomes background noise. For Shedeur Sanders, that's actually good news. Because all of these debates, all of these headlines, all of these arguments, they disappear the moment he starts producing on Sundays. Winning changes narratives faster than anything else in sports. Critics become quiet. Supporters become louder. And opinions suddenly shift. That's always been true in the NFL. So maybe the biggest mistake isn't Shedeur posting pictures. Maybe the biggest mistake is allowing one photo to define an entire athlete. A quarterback should ultimately be judged by preparation, leadership, decision-making, and performance, not by whether cameras happen to capture a community event. The modern NFL isn't going to the noise the only way NFL players ever have, by winning on the field. If he does, the critics won't disappear, but they'll have to find something else to talk about.